And, ooh, did I just say how old I was? I blew that one real fast. And so they kept getting worse, and the glasses got stronger, and then I had to get the prescription sunglasses and all this. And I hated wearing glasses. Every time I put them on, I had all this negative energy going on, right? So a few years passed, couple, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many, I stopped counting. And I was at a hypnosis convention, because by then I'd been going to these conventions, and I had been certified, and I was doing hypnosis. And I heard somebody in the hall say, I fixed my eyes with hypnosis. And it was like a light bulb went on in my head, and I said, oh my gosh, I know how to do that. I can do hypnosis. And I didn't see the guy, I don't know who it was, I don't know what he did. But I said, no wonder my eyes are getting worse all the time. I've got this negative. Go to work. I said, I don't know if you can do anything, but that guy seemed to do it, so it went. Did you get it? How did I get that to you? There's one, and there's one. Now one of those is a $1,000 bill. You really believe that? Was I congruent there? I was laughing as I said it. No, but it, hey, it's something, I got the flow going. It's something you didn't have a minute ago. One was actually a 20. Hey. I was gonna do 100, but I didn't have one handy. You're welcome. So, you gotta get the flow going. and that's what this is all about. That's what money's all about. That's what the mind, your mind, like I said, it's very, very efficient. It's gonna give you what you ask for. And whatever is on your mind most of the time, like I said, look at your life right now, if it's, as far as money is concerned, since that's what this is all about, being a millionaire mind shift. And you know what? Tom Peters said, change happens in a nanosecond, right? It really does. When change happens, it's instant. The change happens when the shift happens in your mind. Now, the lead up to that might take some time because you got to start changing some beliefs, like I did about my eyes. Now, looking back, with my new information, I believe I could have fixed my eyes very, very quickly. It didn't have to take 3 years, but my belief system was still, being activated there. So change happens in a nanosecond. The lead up might take longer, but as soon as you get in the mindset for that change, you start manifesting that. And it happens very quickly. I always tell people, be careful because things start falling out of the sky right in front of you, and it really does. It's really funny how that works. So, whatever you're thinking of most of the time during the day, you move in the direction of dominant thought. So, what are you thinking about all the time? Because as soon as you decide you want to, if your goal is to be a millionaire, you want to think like a millionaire, you got to think about it first, make the decision, think about it, talk about it, and that means to other people and inside here, right? It's got to be a congruent message. Write about it. Some people do journaling, if that's your thing. Write it, just anytime you're writing something, you can write it down as a mantra, you can write it down as an affirmation, however you want to think about it. Affirmations only work, by the way, if right after you say them or think them, your unconscious gut feeling or whatever you call that doesn't come back with its BS detector and say, I don't think so, I'm beautiful, thin, gorgeous, and you look in the mirror. Some people, they do that, they think that's going to work. If it does, that's great. I think it's a little bit more efficient to give your mind a clear, concise direction. That's when it performs the best. So think about it, make the choice, talk about it all the time, congruently, inside of your mind and to other people. Surround yourself with other people who are of the same mindset so that you don't get polluted, right? Write about it. Any way that you can get it down. And dream about it. Now this is the part where I think hypnosis comes in, because people think hypnosis is that state between awake and asleep. I happen to know that hypnosis is programming that can also happen from repetition, right? Can happen from trauma, can happen from a lot of things. It's just a word, it's a field of study is what it is, it's a science of the mind. But what happens when you start really getting your whole energy into a mindset, we spend like a third of our life sleeping. I was talking with someone about this the other day. I said, what's with that? I need more time, more hours of the day, more days of the week, and here I'm spending, a third of the day sleeping. What a waste. And then I thought, wait a minute, it's not a waste, because your mind is still processing, and it's still doing things inside the body. If you have any kind of aches or pains or physical conditions going on, you can use that efficiently. And one of my favorite phrases about hypnosis, the thing that makes it different from meditation is it has a specific goal. That's what makes it different. It's really the same state, pretty much. But you're doing something with it. So my favorite phrase now is to say, why waste a good trance? If you're going to be in trance, you might as well let your mind in that efficient state where you're out of the way with all those doubts and fears and limiting beliefs and all that stuff. Let it work for you, right? So give it something. So guess what? All of a sudden, the light went on again yesterday when I was talking to my friend, and I said, I'm sleeping all those hours, or taking naps or whatever I do. Give it something to do. Give it some direction. It's going to do it anyway, because whatever you're thinking of as you drift off to sleep, studies show your mind processes all night long. So if you're watching the news and you go to sleep, guess what? Whew. Not good for the cells in the body, let's put it that way. Right? So give it some direction. Some people do dream work where you write down something you're working on in your life on a piece of paper, put it under the pillow. I think of that more like the power of intention, right? I went to hear Masaru Emoto, the Messages in Water guys. Anybody familiar with him? I've had his book forever, so I just found out he was in town the same day that he was there, and I went down to see him. And, they put the little labels on the water, and it turns the water to something. Now, in my mind, it's like a biofeedback machine, or any other ritual that we're going to use, EFT, whatever you're doing. But yet, guess what? If you believe it, and if you're congruently believing it and expecting the change to happen, it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do, if you believe it. Because somewhere in Africa, there's a tribe where the medicine man rattles the bones in a certain order and people are cured because they believe it. But you send that same witch doctor, or whatever they call them there, to New York City and open an office up, it probably wouldn't have the same kind of results, right? Because the belief isn't there. So it's about belief and congruent, getting the message in. The mind runs the body, and it truly is a miracle. We're all miraculous. And program your mind at night while you sleep. Use that dream state. To me, daydreaming is hypnosis. So if you're going to daydream, don't daydream about stuff that you're afraid might happen, because that's going to attract that stuff. Daydream about being a millionaire, your bank accounts increasing in value, writing those checks and smiling as you write thousands and thousands of dollars of checks for other people to send it out to keep that flow going, right? That's how it works. And as soon as you lose that fear that makes you want to hold on, that's when the flow starts coming back too. Right? So you're all asleep. See, I said this will be great right after dinner. Everybody will already be in trance. All your blood is in your stomach right now. Except then they come through with that cowbell and all that dancing stuff. So I don't know what that did with everybody's digestive tract, but I know I was coming out of the restroom nice and calm and centered, and all of a sudden I heard this clankety clank, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. So shifting states. I do NLP, and I love NLP for that because there's anchors and triggers. Felice knows something about this. By the way, Felice is the one that got me into this. Thank you, by the way. What a sweetheart. This is kind of a surprise for me to even be here. You can anchor in a state if you need confidence in a certain context. I mentioned I was in show business. Only I don't talk about that a lot, but because in show business, you have to be able to get into a state and shift your state and act as if you're happy or whatever, on cue. You may not feel happy in that moment, but you have to act. And what happens, that was great training for me all those years, because what I found was as soon as I acted that way for a little while, I stopped feeling whatever way I was feeling, and I couldn't get that back, and why would you want to? So what I learned was also, you can't get sick when you're in show business. If anybody's ever been there, it's not allowed. If you're dead, you might get out of whatever you gotta do, but maybe. But you have to perform. So I learned early on, I started when I was 20, and I learned early on, it's not fun to not feel 100% in me on stage. So I just decided, I didn't know hypnosis, I didn't call it that. I decided I was not gonna get sick anymore. So I could be in a show where everybody else had the flu, and I would be the only one walking around. They'd say, oh, don't let me cough on you. I'd say, that's okay, I'm immune, I don't get sick. And I was brave, and I said it congruently, and somehow I was crazy enough, I believed it. And for 20 years, I did not take an aspirin. And guess when the first time I got sick and needed some medical help? It was, I shifted careers briefly, got a little bit lost and off track of my path, got married. That was a great idea. And I got a job I didn't like, working in an office with a bunch of people who hated their job. And all of a sudden, guess what? My body started not being happy about all that because my mind wasn't happy. And I started getting sick. And I ended up literally having some physical things happen before I shifted out of that. And luckily, I was getting into hypnosis officially about that time. So I started learning how to get out of some of those things. So I don't know how much more time because it's like when I work with clients, I go on for 2 hours sometimes and I go, oh, you have to be somewhere. How much time do I have left here? Can I take some questions? Is it okay if I take a question or two? 5 minutes?
Sure.
Oh, I thought you were just waving at me. Hi, Russell. My new old friend, or my old new friend? I'm not sure what that is.
I met her and I said,
I met her.
Never mind.
Oh, sorry. Where'd you meet me?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I met you, it was a bar. You were drinking.
Now wait a minute, how come everybody that I know tells that same story? I don't know. Does anybody have any questions? Because I could ramble on here but I'd rather talk about what you want to know about. Yeah. My mantra. Oh, I was going to teach it to you. Thank you. I tend to get scattered, if you haven't noticed. Felice knows, because she's heard me talk before. Okay, I want you to repeat after me. Okay, this is a mantra I was doing consistently when things were really on a roll, and I just started doing it again about 3 weeks ago, and things are getting back on a roll again. How funny is that? I just forgot to do it for a while. Okay, repeat after me. Multi-millions of dollars are flooding into my bank accounts. There's more than one, right? Several. From the abundant universe. Through no misfortune to anyone. And for the greatest good of all concerned. That's half of it. It kept growing, you know what I mean? I started doing it one day and I said, multi-millions of dollars are flooding into my bank accounts from the start-out bank account. You know, you make adjustments as you, why not? If it can be better, make it better. That's my goal in life. So, multi-millions of dollars are flooding into my bank accounts from the abundant universe through no misfortune to anyone and for the greatest good of all concerned. And I thought, that kind of covers it and says it the way I want to, and it doesn't sound like it's going to hurt anybody. And I said, oh, and I'm happy and excited to accept full responsibility for the redistribution. Now, that word back when I did it didn't have the Now, I almost changed it, and I said, no, you know what? I'm better at redistributing the abundance that I have coming to me than someone else deciding. So it still fits, doesn't it? Right? I can put it out there and do all kinds of great stuff with it. So, I'm happy and excited for the redistribution of these multi-millions of dollars. See, if I say it slow, I forget what it is. for the betterment of all mankind. Yeah. And then what I did was, though, I thought, well, wait a minute, there might be some beings out there on other planets. So I'm still working on how to adjust that last part. I don't want to leave anybody out. You know, that wouldn't be nice. All life I like the universe word because that kind of covers it all. And the internal universe, when you start working with hypnosis, and does anybody know who Bruce Lipton is? I don't know, but you know, they say when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Well, the first year or two I was in hypnosis, looking back at 18 years ago now, I had some phenomenal teachers that just fell right out of the sky in front of me. I was like so ready to do this, and I didn't even know it yet at that time. Bruce Lipton was on the board of directors of the American Board of Hypnotherapy. I'm like, what's this guy doing on a hypnosis? He's a cellular biology professor at Stanford University, and he was phenomenal. If you've ever heard him speak, I love him. He runs around and he's like exciting, and he reminds me of a George Carlin guy, you know, back when he was a wiry little guy. Anyway, he talks about the cells of the body, and he's somebody who, for left brain people, since I work a lot with doctors, explains how the cells respond to thought energy. Thought is nothing more than energy. And every cell in the body is being affected by every thought you think. Now they're using light and sound therapy and breaking up gallstones with light. It's no different except that we have control over our mind, right? We have the greatest drugstore in the world in our brain, and there's no side effects except good ones, right? So when you learn how to use your mind, you can create serotonin and dopamine, and you can release these amazing natural chemicals that we were created with and send them to whatever part of your body needs it, or if you don't know what part of your body needs it, guess what? Your unconscious mind knows. And you can do miraculous things. I see it all the time. And I'm so excited about 5 years from now what more I'm going to be seeing, because now I can train nurses. I've been training nurses, but now I can give them CEUs as of today. I just got the official email. Yeah. There's 11 of us in the country who got trained about 3 months ago in Orlando. to be able to offer CNEs, they call it, I think, continuing education, to teach nurses how to do hypnosis. So they don't walk in and then they can work on the doctors, right? Because they come to my classes too, but not enough of them. So they don't walk in and say, so how's your pain today? They've done studies on that. As soon as you hear the pain word, your pain increases instantly, just from the word. Words have power, so be careful what words you're saying to yourself. Frame the words, frame your goals in a way that feels 100% right. And even if everybody read, when I was a little girl and said, I'm going to grow up and be a singer someday, I'm going to be a singer. And I lived in a little bitty town, and we didn't have any money, and there was no reason to, but think that I could do that. But I knew it. Somewhere inside of me, I just knew that's what I was going to do. I loved it, and I lived it, and my dad said I used to stand up in the middle of the bed in the middle of the night and sing in my sleep, and I wouldn't even know it. The next day they'd tell me, right? So I dreamt it. Dream. We're back to dream again. Notice that? So every moment that you can have in your energy a congruent message of something that's important to you, the faster you're going to manifest it. So that's what that's about. Did I answer your question? Did you ask a question? Did I answer it? I don't remember what it was. The mantra. We did the mantra. Yeah. So, well, the ending is still, it's kind of like a work in progress now again. Multi-millions of dollars are flooding into my bank accounts from the abundant universe through no misfortune to anyone and for the greatest good of all concerned. And I am happy, big breath there, and I'm happy and excited to accept full responsibility for the redistribution of these multi-millions of dollars for the greatest good of the universe, all mankind, all animals, all entities. And we are all perfect beings of light. Trust me, you work perfectly. You already are working perfectly. When I used to say that to people, they look at me and they say, ooh. And people that call themselves perfectionists, they have a problem. They don't know they're perfect. They will never be good enough. That's what those people are. So I'm going to stop talking now. My website is uphypnosis.com, and please email me if you have any questions. Call me. I love to help people. I love to answer questions, and I'll guide you to more information about any of this that you want to hear. Thank you. I love you all. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
She has several excellent CDs, I asked her. We'll have her information in the back, please. I heard about Patricia Scott several times. And I finally got to meet her. Huh? You have cards?
My business card.
Excellent. Make sure we have them in the back, because I would say that I've already told her I'm going to come and get a little training from her myself.